Hi, folks. This is Mark by Mark A. Foster, Ph.D., for the Institute for Dialectical Meta-Realism. I came across the video of a Trotskyist tendency called the Revolutionary Communist International. It is the new name for what was previously called In Defense of Marxism, which is a Trotskyist tendency. If you don't know about it, I believe it was started by Ted Grant. I have never been a member of it. Surprise, surprise, because I've been a member of so many tendencies, but not this one. Um, but I was intrigued by the title of the podcast, of the episode, and I haven't watched it. I may not, I'm not sure, but let me go ahead and put on my spectacles briefly and just read to you the title. I will include a link to it, in all fairness, in case you want to watch it. It was streamed 18 hours ago. It is titled, How Can the Communists Conquer the Masses? That's the title of it. The reason why I found that title to be so intriguing, as I said, is not because of who made it, not because that tendency has adopted a new name, but because I feel as though it shows that most communists, I don't care, Marxist Leninists, Trotskyists, Maoists, autonomists, council communists, whatever, are missing something. What are they missing? They are missing the third world. They are missing third worldism. They are missing the fourth world. They are missing indigenism. Why is it that there has not been a successful communist revolution anywhere in the world? And by successful, I mean enduring. That does not mean I don't think that there have been successful short-term revolutions, whether in the People's Republic of China, the Soviet Union, Vietnam, and perhaps especially Cuba under the late Fidel Castro. I love Fidel Castro, perhaps more than any other communist leader, maybe along with him, Che Guevara. I love both of them, but Che Guevara never ran a country, sadly. I think he would have been a good person to do that, but he never actually ran a country. Why is it that those revolutions, why is it that those communisms came to an end? Here's my answer, and I have given this before, in a sense. It is, I think, virtually impossible to establish communism, a communism with any degree of endurance, as long as the world is ruled by the capitalist world system. As long as the first world, headed now by the United States, is in control. And be there no doubt, it was the United States which destroyed the Soviet Union. Very clearly, the Soviet Union simply could not compete economically against the United States and against the capitalist world system in general. And so the second world, the world headed by the former Soviet Union, came to an end. There is no second world anymore. Countries that were in the second world or parts of those countries are now either first world or third world. The second world is simply gone. And I don't think that as long as there is a capitalist world system, as long as there is a first world in its present configuration, there can ever be a successful communist or revolutionary socialist revolution. Maybe I am wrong, but as a Maoist third worldist, when I've gone back and looked at the history of communism, when I have looked at the writings of Marx and Engels, both of whom were very optimistic that there would be successful revolutions in Europe by the end of the 20th century. As we all know now, that never happened. Never. What Antonio Gramsci said, and I think he was largely correct. I might disagree with him on a couple of things here and there, but not on that many things, is that capitalism has basically taken its own system and used it as an ideological enemy to prevent revolutions. And so proletarians, workers, have been prevented from staging a revolution because of the control, for example, that the first world, that capitalism has over the media. And so in spite of all the fondest hopes, in spite of the wondrous expectations that many people had, including me, back in the late 1960s, that the United States would become communist. And yes, I genuinely believed that, as did my comrades in my chapter of the Students' Democratic Coalition on Long Island. All of us, I think, believed it. We talked about it. I was sincere, and I assume that my comrades were sincere as well. Now, we were kids. I realize that. But we believed it. We believed that communism was just around the corner. And it never happened. The final stage of the New Left, often called the New Communist Movement, was the Black Panthers. That too was a failure. It was a wonderful movement. But did it bring about genuine communism in the US? No. It failed. We are still left with the capitalist world system dying as it is. And it is dying. It is only a matter of time before there will be no more capitalist world system. It is being destroyed by its own dialectical contradictions. The timeline, I don't know. Immanuel Wallerstein, the developer of world systems analysis and the person who coined the term capitalist world system, gave it about 30 more years, and that was about 10 years ago. Whether he was right, I have no idea. I do not want to make any predictions. I do think, though, that it is pretty soon. Pretty soon. That's pretty vague, isn't it? Pretty soon. I am careful not to make predictions because most of my predictions change that. All of my predictions have gone horribly wrong. I have never made a successful prediction about world events. The world is simply too complex. There are simply too many parts. And those parts are not predictable. They change all the time. So for me to make a prediction about when precisely the capitalist world system will end would, in my view, be foolhardy. So I will simply refrain from doing so anymore. My predictions in the past were generally just to my friends. So they, I guess, excused me. I did not do it online, which I guess is a blessing. But still, I made a fool out of myself. I should not have made predictions. And yet, I see the capitalist world system ending all around me. So why did this organization talk about the importance? Go back to it. How can the communists conquer the masses? Amazing. I saw that without my glasses. Well, it's in pretty big type. How? Okay, you tell me how. Maybe I will watch that video just to see what those people think. A better question, I think, would be, why have the communists not conquered the masses so far? What is taking you so long? That is the question I want to see a first worldist answer. Have they done so? No. You can always put it off. And first worldists have been extremely successful at doing so. And I think that is one reason why communism, why the left in general, and by the left, I mean the far left, communism, revolutionary socialism, that is one reason, the major reason, I think, why there really is no left. In my own country, the United States, or really anywhere in the world, anywhere, there is no left right now. And there is no prospect of there being a successful left as long as the capitalist world system is in charge. As long as the beast of the first world, with the US as its disgusting head, runs the capitalist world system. Based upon what Antonio Gramsci said, capitalism has been enormously successful at preventing the development of class consciousness. And so I think it will remain until the end of that system. Because it is only when that system is gone, thankfully gone from the face of the earth, that there is a chance, but not an inevitability, of communist or revolutionary socialist revolutions occurring in the third world and perhaps in the fourth world as well. Before then, no. I think that is highly unlikely, and so unlikely that it really makes almost no sense to even entertain the idea. How long have these first worldists had? How long have these major mainline communists had to bring about a successful first world revolution? Well, they've had since the time of Marx and Engels. They have failed since then. So why are they even bothering with the idea of talking about how workers can do this? My question is, where have you been? Where have you been? What has taken you so long? Why are you even still talking about this? Talking about something that you have been unable to deliver on for more than 100 years. Why? What's the point? Drop it. Give up. Simply admit your defeat. Admit that the capitalists have won for now. For now. Admit that the first world is dominated by capitalism and for the time being will never be dominated by revolutionary socialism or communism. Admit it. But will they? No. Not as long as they are first worldists. It brings me considerable sorrow when I recognize how small my movement, the movement I am connected with, is. I don't know exactly how many Maoist third worldists there are. I recently asked someone, if you watched my interview, that question just to see what kind of response I would get. But nobody knows. Nobody knows. How do you calculate that? How many Maoist third worldist groups are there? What is their membership? I have no idea. Whatever it is, it's not that many. We are a small club. Most people have never even heard of us. And that is a genuine tragedy, because I think that not us as individuals, we are just a bunch of stupid jerks walking around like everyone else, but what we have discovered is the ultimate solution. But that solution needs to wait, sadly needs to wait. It needs to wait, in my view, until capitalism is gone from the face of the earth. The curse of capitalism is removed. Then, and I would say only then, that there will be the opportunity for a true communist revolution or revolutions in the third and fourth worlds. But not yet at all. So when I see a video like that by that newly renamed tendency, I think to myself, where have you been? Where have you been? Why are you asking that question now? A question that has not been answered in a long, long time. Don't you realize that you are walking down the wrong path? A path that leads to nowhere. To nowhere. It has led to nowhere. And so I guess the point of this episode is to persuade any first worldists, should you be listening to me, and I don't know if you are, to reconsider your first worldism. Reconsider it. Reconsider it. Consider dropping it, abandoning it, and recognizing that first worldism has never succeeded for a reason. And that is because the first world is dominated by capitalism and by the ideology of capitalism. Again, going back to Antonio Gramsci, the great Antonio Gramsci, in my opinion, one of the greatest communist minds of the 20th century. Tremendous mind, which is why he was imprisoned by Mussolini. And when Mussolini was asked, what was your greatest accomplishment in life? His answer, I put that jerk behind bars. I'm cleaning up his words a bit. I put that jerk behind bars. But while that jerk was behind bars. He wrote the prison notebooks. He wrote those prison notebooks. And what has been the fruit of Mussolini's work? Nothing but evil. Nothing but evil. His student, Hitler, started Nazism. Donald Trump, in a sense, is a successor to Mussolini. There are miniature fascisms or fascist-like countries all around the world. So Mussolini has been a failure, but Gramsci has shown the path to the future, overcoming not only capitalism, but the ideology of capitalism. And it is there, I think, where our hope lies. Once capitalism and the ideology of capitalism are conquered, then perhaps we can have a chance for revolutions in the third and fourth worlds. For the time being, this has been Mark by Mark A. Foster, Ph.D., for the Institute for Dialectical Meta-Realism. Have a pleasant day and an even better day tomorrow.